Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakha Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, because those are the men who I learned the truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. Yahweh is the true name of the God of Israel. Yahushai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one and only true name is Yahushai. And pretty much, I just want to do this video about so-called guardian angels, because the scriptures, it don't have the term guardian and angel in a verse, but they exist in its definition. All right. And you got to understand, if you are part of the elect of the nation of Israel, if you fear Yahweh and Yahushai, the Most High, through Yahushai, has an actual angel that protects you in your daily walk. All right? Because there's always angels all around us. You know, you can't see the spiritual world, you know, with these eyes that we have. All right? But the spiritual realm is all around us. All right? So when you read these particular stories, like with Job had a hedge around him, right? That hedge, that's talking about guardian angels. So now let's get into it, right? So this is Job chapter 1 and verse 10 in the KJV, in which, by the way, Job is an Israelite, all right? To shut people up, just read verse 5. Verse 5, this is something that the Levitical priests used to do, all right? Edomites didn't have this custom, because they like to link Job with the Job that's mentioned in the book of Genesis. This is two different generations, all right? To cut all that bullshit out, just read Job 1 and 5. Job offered up sacrifices for him and his sons. That's something that Israelites do. More importantly, that's something that Levitical priests do, all right? But anyway, this is Job chapter 1 and verse 10. It says, has not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he have on every side? When you read up a verse, this is Satan talking to the Most High, all right? It says that he have on every side, that has blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increasing the land. Now, let's read that in the NLT. Let's see what that'll say. This is Job chapter 1, verse 10. It says, you have always put a wall of protection around him and his home and his property. You have made him prosper in everything he does. Look how rich he is. So when somebody is poor, whether somebody's rich, whatever your living condition is all predestination. It's what the Most High predestinated for your life. All right, your life is the Most High's thought, what he foreordained for you. All right. Now concerning Job chapter 1 and verse 10, let's read the AI overview. I typed in Job 1 verse 10 meaning. Job 1 and 10 is Satan's accusation to Yahweh that Job only serves him because Yahweh heavily protects and prospers him. The hedge signifies Yahweh's absolute providential protection around Job's person, family, and wealth, keeping harm out and causing his prosperity. It highlights the ancient question of motives and faith, the hedge of protection. In Job 1 and 10, Satan points out a divinely built wall that he claims prevents any harm from reaching the righteous man. This hedge is broken down into three areas. The person. It says the person, protection over Job's physical and spiritual well-being. It says the household, a barrier guarding his wife, children, and servants. The possessions, safeguarding his livestock, land, and overall wealth. The core conflict. Satan argues that Job's righteousness is strictly transactional. He claims Job only honors Yahweh because Yahweh gave him an easy, heavily funded life. This sets up the central test of the book. Will Job's faith survive if the protection hedge is removed. All right. So there you go. So that's it with that. Let's read another scripture. This is Psalms 91 and verse 10. Point is in 11. It says, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee. That's the hedge. That's the protection wall. All right? When you read Romans 15:4, it says the things written aforetime is written for our learning, that through reading the scriptures, which is the comforter, that we might have hope. All right? So just as you read about Job catching hell, going through suffering, going through infirmities, being challenged by the Most High through Satan to display his faith, which he did an excellent job. He never cursed the Most High. The same applies to us. All right? So Job having a hedge of protection, the elect of the nation of Israel have a hedge of protection. And angels that the Most High through Yahushua have charge over us to protect us. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways, meaning your mind. Let's read in the NLT version. This is Psalms chapter 91. I'm going to start at verse 10 again. It says, no evil will conquer you. No plague will come near your home. For he will order his angels to protect you wherever you go. So no matter where you at in the world, as long as you have faith upon Yahweh and Yahushua, and you are part of the elect of the nation of Israel, the scriptures say what? He will order his angels to protect you wherever you go. All right? So there you go. So now, I want to read a little bit about this. Psalms chapter 91, verse 11, a overview. Psalms 91:11 promises divine protection, stating, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. That's the NIV version. In the King James Version, we already know what it says. Get to the point. It says this passage, Psalms 91, is celebrated for its message of refuge and Yahweh's directive to his heavenly messengers, the angels, to watch over believers. Believers only come from the seed line of Israel. All right? When you read about the Christians in Acts the 6th and the 11th chapter, they were Jews that followed the Messiah. Those are the believers. Israelites that believe. It says, historically, this exact verse was also famously quoted during the temptation of Hamashiach in the wilderness. So that's it with that. Let's read a little bit about this. It's going to be a short lesson. Now, I typed in guardian angels in the Bible. It says the Bible does not use the term guardian angel, but it strongly affirms that Yahweh commands spiritual beings, angels, to protect, guardian angel, guide, and serve believers. It says several key scriptures highlight this protective role. Psalms 91, verses 11 through 12, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Matthew 18:10, Yahushua states that children have angels in heaven who continually see the face of the Father. All right? That's a guardian angel. Hebrews 1:14, it says, angels are described as ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation. That's true. And also the elect men of the nation of Israel are angels. All right? When you read in our Revelation, I believe it's like 14:6. All right? We're angels in these chains of darkness, which are these earthly terrestrial bodies. Acts 12:15, early Christians, which I'm going to always quote this. Acts the 6th chapter, mainly Acts the 11th chapter. The Christians, the early Christians were Jews that followed the Messiah. This term Christian is not applied to all nations in the general sense. That's not in the scriptures. All right? Heathens cannot serve the Most High. They don't serve the Most High unless we beat their ass and we're the authoritative ruling nation on the planet Earth. They don't serve the Most High. I just did a lesson on that. You know, what happens when the heathen nations is in the promised land of Israel? They keep their culture because that's how they program. Acts 12:15, early Christians believe in personal angelic protection when they mistook Peter for his angel after his release from prison. All right? So we got literal, physical, real angels that watch over us. I'm going to just end it with this, because you got to understand that guardian angels is in the scriptures. All right, even when you read in the book of Tobit. So this is why I typed in on Google, right? Was Raphael in the book of Tobit was a guardian angel? This is what popped up. It said, yes, the archangel Raphael is a central figure in the book of Tobit. It says where he acts as a divine protector, guide, and healer. In the narrative, he takes on the human disguise of a man named Azariah to accompany young Tobias on a dangerous journey. While his actions throughout the story perfectly exemplify the concept of a guardian angel, protecting Tobias from a demon, securing his marriage, and ultimately curing Tobit's blindness, Raphael actually reveals his true heavenly status at the end of the book. He discloses that he is Raphael, right? YASHARAHLA. It says one of the 7 high-ranking archangels who serve in the direct presence of Yahweh. So that's heavy. You know, Tobias or Tobit, you know, he had to be a heavy man. The Most High sent a high-ranking angel to protect you. That's heavy. So that's pretty much it. You know. So this is a short lesson, but you know, that's the point. If you want to read about this story, just read in the book of Tobit. All right. Mainly, you can read like Tobit, the 7th chapter, or like Tobit, the 8th chapter. But that's pretty much it. Lord willing, we was edified by the lesson. Shalom.